thank you for being with us today. Gracias a todos por estar aquí con nosotros. A warm hello and thanks to our great city of Newark's Mayor, Ras Baraka, to the visionaries that comprise our Newark Municipal Council, who are led by Council President Mildred Crump, to Senator Ruiz, Freeholder Bobadilla, and all of our distinguished guests. Bienvenidos. Welcome and thanks to Juan Cartagena, President of Latino Justice PearlDeaf, to Luis Negron, President of the Free Oscar Lopez Rivera Committee of New Jersey, and a gracias de corazón to Nelson Bucci Nieves, President of the Newark Puerto Rican Day Parade. Your leadership, your passion, and dedication are what have brought us all here together. Y a la comunidad presente, o quizás que no estén escuchando, nuestra gente bella, emprendedora, trabajadora, luchadora. Se le agradece su atención hoy día del fondo de nuestros corazones, porque aquí, en este momento, estamos viviendo el sentir de boricua. Defiende lo tuyo. And for our English speakers, I essentially just said to our community that are present with us today, or those who may be listening to us, our beautiful people, the enterprising, hardworking, the fighters, the survivors, we are grateful to you from the bottom of our hearts, because today, in this moment, together, we are living what it is. Boricua, defend what's yours. My name is Catilia Velez, and as a Puerto Rican woman, as a Newarker, and today, most intentionally, as a committee member for the Oscar Lopez Rivera initiative of the Puerto Rican Day Parade of Newark, New Jersey, it is my profound honor to welcome you all here today in our great city of Newark's home, our City Hall, to publicly announce that this year's Newark Puerto Rican Day Parade is dedicated to the cause of Oscar Lopez Rivera's long overdue liberation. The intention with dedicating the parade to Oscar is that we raise consciousness, we build bridges, and provide a platform for all individuals, groups, and entities to participate with us on Sunday, September 18th of this year, to join in with the movement of millions across the world who call for Oscar Lopez Rivera's immediate release. Amongst many whom we thank for solidarity and support stands the Newark Municipal Council, who passed a resolution in December of last year supporting Oscar Lopez Rivera's liberation. It is due to the shared vision between the Newark Municipal Council and the Newark Puerto Rican Day Parade that we are here today in support of Oscar Lopez Rivera's release. To our council, we salute you all and express our deepest gratitude for walking the walk in this way. All right, so we have some excellent speakers with us today who will contribute their remarks, and we're just going to get right to it. Our first speaker will share the word and the vision on the Newark Puerto Rican Days Parade position. Please join me in welcoming a man with lots of energy and a true dedication to all things Puerto Rico and Newark, Josue Torres, Public Relations Coordinator for the Parade and Oscar Lopez Rivera Initiative Committee Chair.
Gracias, Catilia. Good afternoon, everyone. Buenas tardes a todos. To our Newark Municipal Council, all the elected and public officials, community, cultural leaders, stakeholders, caretakers, thank you for being here. Once again, my name is Josue Torres. I am the Public Relations Coordinator for the Puerto Rican Day Parade here in Newark, New Jersey, also serving as Executive Board Member and Oscar Lopez Rivera Initiative Committee Chair. Simply put, we're very excited to dedicate the parade to Oscar Lopez Rivera. In addition to Oscar, the parade is also dedicated to the capital of Puerto Rico, San Juan, and to those whose lives have been touched by the Alzheimer's disease. Now, it is our great hope that on Sunday, September 18, 2016, Oscar will be with us. This is what we want. And to that end, our call to action is very simple, is that every person, every group, every organization, and entity that support Oscar will march with us. Our vision, our goal is to have all the contingencies in the parade and wish to salute Oscar, do so. Artists, actors, dancers, artistic expressions are welcome, as we want to make this day a beautiful one. And if the very unfortunate circumstances that he's not with us that day, we want to lift our spirits, our voices up so loud, so proud, that he hears the message all the way in Indiana. We're doing this simply because it makes sense. Oscar case has transcended and is obvious a miscarriage of justice. The parade as an organization has been explicitly clear that we are honoring him solely as this case is a humanitarian issue. We have no position, viewpoint on political ideology or standing. The Puerto Rican Day Parade of Newark, New Jersey has gone through a rebirth in the last year. Last September, we had over 1 million viewers in Optimate TV. We had near 80 contingencies and roughly 6,000 people in attendance at the Boricua Music Festival following the parade. This translates to us having a tremendous platform, and the case of Oscar Lopez Rivera is fitting of such a reach. Please visit our website, go to www.prdpnj.org. Again, that's prdpnj.org to register your group today. Registration is free. We urge you to join us and thank you for the support and solidarity. Esperamos la libertad para Oscar López Rivera. Que Dios bendiga nuestra isla del encanto, nuestro Puerto Rico. A nuestras 8 millones de hermanos puertorriqueños, no importan dónde estén, nuestro mensaje es que no están solos. Estamos pasando por un momento de crisis, pero con fe y esperanza todo se puede. Ser puertorriqueño no nace, se siente. Por eso, no importa dónde eres o dónde vayas, pa'lante mi hermano, defiende lo tuyo. Gracias.
Gracias. That was amazing. Now, please join me in welcoming a man who lives a legacy, working towards justice every day. He's no stranger to Palante power, our mayor, Ross Baraka.
Thank you. So I am here for two reasons. One, to give support to the Puerto Rican Day Parade, the festival, the committee, but also to support Oscar Rivera as well. It is important for me as an activist, as a person that has been involved in struggle in this country for African Americans, to unite with those who struggle around the same issues that we've struggled with for many, many, many years. I'm not here because I don't have a position. I actually do have one. I agree with the convictions of Oscar Lopez Rivera, and I believe that he should be free. And I'm here to say that because that is something that I believe personally. I also believe as a humanitarian that the president has the opportunity to release him, and he should use that opportunity to do so, and many other political prisoners that are like Oscar Lopez Rivera as well. So my solidarity again, and my thanks to the Puerto Rican Day Parade and everybody who put this day together, and want him to know that Oscar Rivera to know that there are people in Newark of its 300,000 residents, almost 300,000 residents, who are keeping him in their prayers. prayers and their heart and their wishes to see him free one day and see justice and democracy given to every person on this globe, no matter their nationality, their race, their language, their origin, their religion, the food that they eat, or the music that they listen to. Thank you. God bless you.
Thank you, Mayor. Up next is a man who has been such an advocate for Oscar Lopez Rivera's release that he proposed the resolution, which was passed by the council. He joins us representing them, un boricua de pura cepa, Councilman Luis Quintana.
Thank you so much to the Honorable Mayor Ras Baraka and to Senator Teresa Ruiz, to my esteemed person who calls me every morning and checks up on me, Councilman Aníbal Ramos. We check on each other every day. So, make like good brothers, como buenos hermanos, como buenos puertorriqueños. Let me just congratulate the Puerto Rican Parade and the leadership, Bucci, and the whole executive board. This is not a new idea of the word of pardoning someone who deserves to be a pardon. Oscar Lopez Rivera does, just like President Bill Clinton, pardoned Lolita Negron, and many others. So again, who are we to judge? Often the media talks about, well, a lot of things about whether someone's radicalness is because of reasons, but there are reasons for things sometimes. And when you're incarcerated, sometimes you understand. An example was Nelson Mandela, an example of someone that the apartheid decided to put away. And you know, freedom is important. But the members of the council, we decided at the time, and the mayor previous to that with other mayors stood by also in terms of saying that it is time for someone to be free, to be free and real free, so that he can go back home, enjoy the days of his life in freedom and what he struggled for. Because often we all talk about what we struggle, but there are those that pave the way for us to be where we're at today. But often we all forget how we got to a place. So again, in the Puerto Rican history, there has been women and men of strong courage. Lola de Rodríguez de Tíos would have been the same. Don Pedro Albizu Campos, de Hosto, and we could continue going. Felisa Rincón de Gautier would probably stand here and say the same. The women and the Puerto Rican women and men of our island have been people with vision. For that reason, I stand today with my council colleagues to say that we have vision too, to see and making sure that Oscar is free. And we can say, like in the African American community have always said, we can say the words, and we'll share some of those words, that thank God we're free at last. And he's going to be able to say that too. And it is time. We have had political prisoners from all parts of the world. The Cuban community knows about political prisoners and what their struggles are. So when the media tries to say something different, that why you stand for something, well, we're standing because we believe that, you know, with time, people change, but ideas never change. And I'll put that, y quiero dejarles saber a ustedes, mis hermanos y mis colegas, y mis puertorriqueños, que nuestra historia tiene mucho, y los baluartes de nuestra patria, y de nuestra patria, digo. Hay hombres y mujeres que yo no podría arrimarme a sus pies porque son pies de gigantes, de mujeres gigantes y hombres gigantes, porque la historia nuestra tiene, y nuestra historia para una isla tan pequeña tiene tanta historia. a nivel militar, a nivel musical. Somos un pueblo. Vamos a desfilar juntos, vamos a marchar juntos para la libertad de Oscar López Rivera, para que sí podamos decir que seamos libres, que estemos libres de expresión y que podemos expresarnos a cualquier momento, en cualquier nivel. Estoy orgulloso de ser puertorriqueño y estoy orgulloso de que nosotros podamos ser parte, un grano, para estar seguro que la libertad para Oscar Rivera sea. Gracias.
Thank you, Councilman. Now let's give a warm welcome to an extraordinary leader, our sister, nuestra hermana, in solidarity with creating a more just and equitable world, our Senator Teresa Ruiz.
I said to Catilia, I said, oh goodness, after I stood up, she didn't say my name. I said, I hope it was me, but I'm the only woman up here, so it was safe. Good afternoon, everyone. I am from San Sebastián, Puerto Rico, and so como pana de Oscar, of course, I would be here, boricua en sangre, que cuando me cortan sangro el coquí, even though I was born and raised here. On two notes, I just want to highlight that the parade has, in the last year and in this year, has become a cultural, elevated experience for the city of Newark and the state of New Jersey. But most importantly, it's taken on a new trend and dedicated itself to a mission of education. Last year, we marched alongside bringing awareness to cancer and finding a cure. And this year, we're taking another epic turn to the release of Oscar Lopez Rivera. When you think about crimes that are committed today and the sentences that are given, and then you read his record of 12 years of solitary confinement and 34 years in totality, you think that maybe he slaughtered, a whole civilization. In fact, it's just ideology that has kept him imprisoned. The councilman talked about an individual who I too want to invoke his name. When Pedro Albizu Campos wrapped himself in towels to protect himself from radiation, the governor then thought he was insane. But it wasn't that. He was being used as a guinea pig inside of the federal prison system. Again, imprisoned for ideology and not justice. Today, as a senator of the city of Newark and the township of Belleville, representing Latinos in this state, in this country, in Puerto Rico, and far above and beyond, it's time to do right by an individual and free him and ensure that the courts in this country, federal, state, and local, really begin to show parity and fairness and equity, because for far too long, we've seen too many people behind bars that don't deserve to be there. So I joined the Puerto Rican Day Parade, I joined the mayor and the council people and all the activists who are here to ensure that there's education, that there's fairness, and that there's equity, and that hopefully on September 18th, Oscar can join us down Avenida Puerto Rico. Thank you.
She's so great. Thank you, Senator. Up next is a man whose voice is always at once remarkably pragmatic, heartfelt, and powerful. Essex County Freeholder Rolando Bobadilla.
Good afternoon, everyone. Mayor, Councilman Quintana Ramos, and our Senator Ruiz. Oscar Lopez Rivera is a decorated Bronze Star Vietnam veteran and is now one of the longest held political prisoners here in the United States. That's an amazing parallel. He is a proud Puerto Rican. To me, embodies the spirit of the late Congressman Herman Badillo, with the spirit and the fight for Puerto Ricans and community like no one has. In 1981, Mr. Lopez was convicted and imprisoned in the United States, served with the charge of seditious conspiracy, despite never having been accused of harming anybody, or let alone taking a life. His release date, scheduled for 2027, is an amazing parallel as to the indecency of our government sometimes. He will be 84 years old. And on May 29th of this year, would be the 35th anniversary of his arrest. During his time, he spent 12 years in solitary confinement, a practice which is barbaric and unethical. As a non-Puerto Rican, I stand in solidarity with you today, right? With the Puerto Rican Day Parade Committee, Inc., its leadership, Buchi Nieves, and its executive members. But not only that, but the millions of Puerto Ricans throughout the world, all the elected officials, civic organizations, and humanitarian leaders for recognizing the work that he has done for Latinos and Puerto Ricans, but is now just labeled a political prisoner. The entire Latino community is with you, and we will be there to support. You know, regarding Cuba, if President Obama is so bold as to open the doors to a repressive regime who is harboring fugitives and the murderer of a New Jersey state trooper, then a pardon for Oscar Lopez Rivera is not a question of if, it's when is he going to be reunited with his family. The time is now, and I can't thank the parade committee enough for bringing the cause forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Freeholder. Next, please welcome Sigfredo Carrion. He's a long-standing community advocate, activist, and champion of people's rights. He is with us today representing the Free Oscar Lopez Rivera Committee of New Jersey.
Thank you very much, Catilia. On behalf of the New Jersey Committee to Free Oscar Lopez Rivera, I want to thank first the Puerto Rican Day Parade and their leadership because they've done a wonderful job. First of all, they've supported us and supported the cause of liberation for Oscar Lopez Rivera. They've organized this press conference and especially the dedication to the 2016 Puerto Rican Day Parade to liberate Oscar Lopez Rivera is without precedent. Thank you so much. The parade perhaps went through difficult times, but Buchi and his leadership and his whole committee have brought it back better than ever. The parade itself was a lot of fun. The party afterwards was out of sight, and at the same time, the parade is about substance, and it's about defending the rights and the needs of the Puerto Rican community and the community in general. And that's what gives it substance and really relevance in our time. So thank you so much for that. I want to thank the Newark City Council for their courage and their compassion in presenting the resolution. It took a lot of courage and compassion to do that, given the political atmosphere and what's going on in the world today. So we thank them, and we understand that they may catch a lot of heat for that, and we thank them for that, for their courage. I want to thank Mayor Ras Baraka for his support and solidarity throughout the year. His deputy, Jacqueline Quiles, went with us to Harlem and spoke eloquently on the demonstration in Harlem, which took place last year in May the 30th. And of course, I want to thank the members of the press for being here today. The press, I want to refer you to the information package that you have there. The information package, at least with regard to the issue of Oscar Lopez Rivera, has three main documents. It has a background information that you have there that we perhaps don't have time to get into all of that today, even though the speakers before me have made reference to the most important points. There is a list of frequently asked questions. And what's the fourth one? Oh. There were three things, I'm sorry, without looking at it, I can't think of it now. The frequently asked questions, oh yes, the list of government and non-government organizations that are in support of the campaign to free Oscar Lopez Rivera. It's a long list, goes on for 3 pages, and there are many more organizations and individuals that have come on board since that was prepared. So you have that information, basic information there, and we thank you for being here today. The committee to free Oscar Lopez Rivera is involved in a petition drive, and up to now we've collected 50,000 petitions, and the drive continues. So if you haven't signed up, if you haven't finished one up, Yari is there and he has petitions, and he'd be glad to give you a petition to fill out. On January the 6th, which is, by the way, the birthday of Oscar Lopez Rivera, the National Committee had a campaign of sending tweets, and we sent 1,700,000 tweets to President Baraka asking for the liberation of Oscar Lopez Rivera. Now, there are some future events that I want to go over with very briefly. On May 29th, there's going to be a demonstration in New York City that's going to start from I was going to say Journal Square, from Times Square, and it's going to march to the United Nations. And that's the day that the United Nations Committee on Decolonization is going to be meeting and discussing the issue of Puerto Rico. So we want to be there present. We want them to hear our voices. On January the 20th, on June the 20th, there's going to be the International Day of Solidarity with Oscar Lopez Rivera. On that day, in front of the U.S. embassies, there will be demonstrations and activities in 35 countries around the world. On July the 25th, at the National Democratic Convention, the National Puerto Rican Agenda Organization has convened a massive demonstration of which we will participate, and we're inviting everyone to join. The purpose of that demonstration is to get the Democratic Party to support 2 issues. Number 1 is to support Puerto Rico in its time of economic need, and second is to support the release of Oscar Lopez Rivera. And that'll be, of course, in Philadelphia. And the last issue is the Puerto Rican Day Parade, which will be on September 18th. And again, we invite everyone to join us, either in celebrating Oscar Lopez's release or in demanding that he be released before the end of the year. Thank you very much. Free Oscar Lopez Rivera.
Gracias, Sigfredo. Our final speaker it was really hard for me to think about what to say about him. I'm going off for a quick tangent here because I profoundly respect and admire this man. Essentially, he's a juggernaut. There's no other way that I could really say it. He spearheads Latino justice, Pearl Deaf, fighting for the advancement and protection of civil rights throughout the East Coast for all Latinos. Ladies and gentlemen, Juan Cartagena.
Buenas tardes. Good afternoon. My name is Juan Cartagena. I run what's called Latino Justice Pearl Deaf, formerly called the Puerto Rican Legal Defense and Education Fund, where, by the way, I got my first job as a student, my first job as an attorney, and now, 20, 30 years later, I got a privilege of heading up the organization that I really love and I'm proud of being associated with. I'm also proud to be with these incredible activistas and gente de la comunidad who are supporting the release of Oscar Lopez Rivera. Proud of the fact that your committee for the Puerto Rican Day Parade has decided to dedicate its parade this year in Newark to the release of Oscar Lopez Rivera. Extremely proud of being with these distinguished elected officials. Mayor and City Council members here in Newark have been leading the way on discussions about criminal justice reform for a long time. I've had the opportunity to support and learn that you passed unanimously the establishment of Civilian Complaint Review Board. For that, it's an honor to be here with you today. Senator Ruiz in Trenton has been fighting the fight of criminal justice reform for a long time. I know her for work there, and I'm very proud of that work too. You see, because the release of Oscar Lopez Rivera is not just an issue of fairness and human rights. It's not just an issue of the internationalization of the human rights cause. It's not just the issue of recognizing that a man who's 74 years old, 35 years in jail, 12 years in solitary, should be home with his grandkids. If enough is enough. As Senator Ruiz has mentioned, his sentence is disproportionate. It makes no sense. 55 years for seditious conspiracy. That means to think about doing something. Not to do something, just think about it. 15 years for thinking about escaping, not actually escaping, thinking about escaping. Both of those sentences are outrageously long compared to the average sentence in federal courts for all crimes in 1981 when he was convicted of seditious conspiracy, well out of proportion of only 1 year of sentence for actual escape, not thinking about escape. In the 1980s, his sentence makes no sense unless you accept the proposition that the United States has so many years of doing. The American exceptionalism of punishment. And we do punishment right in this country. Oh, we do punishment right. We send people away for a long time. We can care less about what happens when they're in prison. We make it difficult, if not impossible, for them to find jobs once they're released from prison. We make it impossible for them to find public housing, school loans. We do punishment really well. But you see, the country's finally starting to think about its punishment priorities. The country's finally starting to think about why is it that we have 5% of the world's population and 25% of the world prison population. Why is it that we have 2.2 million people behind bars? Why is it that 30% of us who are outside the prison, 30% of us in the civilian labor force have some form of criminal record, even an arrest? What is it about our country that's finally getting us to recognize that this is a mistake? Because, damn it, we're finally recognizing that this mistake has been brought on the backs of African Americans and Latinos. We're finally recognizing that African Americans and Latinos are paying this price. Even though crime goes down, incarceration stays up, and that makes no sense. In that context, and just looking at that context alone, Oscar Lopez Rivera's sentence is outrageously long. President Obama has done amazing things in his term. I fully supported him the first term, fully support him in this term. He's done amazing things. His Attorney General, Eric Holder, another African American, has done an incredible job to try to talk about, think about, change criminal justice and sentencing policies. What he has done is effectively point a finger at what has happened in criminal justice. He's the first president ever to visit a prison. Imagínense eso. The first president ever to visit a prison, and we spend so much money on corrections in this country. He's the first president that I'm aware of can speak about racial profiling, speak about the harm of racial profiling to his own family, speak about these issues, speak about what it means that at every turn we have problems with law enforcement. And when he spoke at the commemoration of the life of Nelson Mandela, he said the following words. The president spoke of Mandela's activism for freedom and said, quote, how much of that was shaped in a dark and solitary cell. Speaking to the nature of Mandela's reconciliatory outlook, because Mandela was amazing because he was able to forgive the oppressor. This is Obama's quote. It took a man like Madiba to free not just the prisoner, but the jailer as well. To teach that reconciliation is not just a matter of ignoring a cruel past, but a means of confronting it with inclusion generosity, and truth. You free the prisoner, but you free yourself. You free the prisoner and you free the system that jails that prisoner. That's what he said Mandela taught him. That is, President Obama, what Oscar Lopez Rivera can teach you. You free the prisoner, you free the system that imprisons somebody for so long when it makes no sense for a 74-year-old man with the life expectancy that he's likely to have to continue to suffer from a disproportionate sentence. And I'll end with this. President Obama again, antier, or fue ayer, I forgot which, he was in Cuba, right? And after all the meetings, he had an incredibly, very strong meeting with a number of Cuban dissidents. And by the way, for me, it really was a very touching moment for Obama to visit Cuba. It took an African-American president to do this. It really did. And all the compeblanos that we know from Cuba for many, many decades here in New Jersey, I'm sure that for many of them, not all, but for many of them too, they recognize the breakthrough, historic breakthrough that it's had in these relationships between the United States and Cuba. But he repeated a comment that was made in the press conference with President Raul Castro about political prisoners in Cuba. And Castro said, give me a list. That's right. Right? That's right. At the dissidents meeting, President Obama was reported as saying, is there a list of political prisoners in Cuba? And one of the dissidents, Cubano, of course there is. I have it. And he gave it to the president, presumably to give it to the reporter, presumably to do something with it. Presidente Barack Obama, si usted está buscando presos políticos, no tiene que ir tan lejos. Aquí los hay. President Obama need not go to Cuba to get a list of political prisoners. We have them in the United States as well. I could talk about Leonard Peltier, the Native American activist who's still excessive sentence for his political beliefs. I talk about Mumia, excessive sentence, a black African American, excessive sentencing because of his political beliefs. But I would start the list, because I'm puertorriqueño, nacido aquí en este país, pero de padres de callellano, I would start the list with Oscar Lopez Rivera. The reason why he was given all these disproportionate sentences is not because he happened to have a judge that was crazy. It's because he believes in the independence of Puerto Rico. And that list that's been going around in your package of everybody who supports his release, they include statehooders, they include Commonwealth supporters, they include independentistas, the clergy, elected officials, unionists, activists, peloteros, actors, musicians. You see, the release of Oscar Lopez Rivera is mainstream now. It's not an outlier. We're not asking for something crazy. Lo apoya la Iglesia Católica. Lo apoya todos los candidatos de Puerto Rico para la gobernación. This is mainstream politics, President Obama. So I'm happy to stand here with the Newark City Council and the Mayor of Newark, who passed a resolution in favor of this release. I'm extremely proud to be standing with the organizers of the Puerto Rican Parade, who are making this dedication so important to do. But also, I'm very proud of all the community activists. Ustedes que están aquí en la audiencia, those of you who are in the audience with us. Write a letter to Obama today. You don't have to put anything on the envelope. Just put President Barack Obama, Washington, D.C. Va a llegar. Trust me. Put a stamp on it. It'll get there. You don't need the address. You don't need the zip code. Write it today. Just simply say, why do we, as a country, so proud of our ideals, still incarcerate a 74-year-old man who never took an action of violence and insist today that that is a just sentence? It's not just, it's not fair, and with your help, we'll release him this year. Muchísimas gracias. Mr. Mayor, glad to meet you. Glad to meet you.
Wow. Kind of don't want to talk anymore. That was pretty amazing. Thank you, Juan. Gracias. As we conclude, I just have a few quick things to share. One very important thing in particular, everyone here today owes a debt of gratitude to one person, one very special person, for all of his hard work, not only today, but throughout the years. His sincerity, his commitment, his mentorship. He's an author, historian, he's a true educator, Jose Velázquez. Thank you. And we would like to once again thank all of the elected and public officials, dignitaries who have demonstrated their support today, either by taking the time out to physically be with us, to share their thoughts, or to send representatives. We did not hear from Councilman Aníbal Ramos from the North Ward, but we thank you so much for standing with us today. For Congressman Luis Gutierrez, Ave Maria, no me salía. Luis Gutierrez sent us a message this morning in solidarity and support, and he wishes that he could have been here with us. I'd also like to thank Willie Sanchez, who's here with us today. He's the longest running Hispanic TV show, Imágenes, and Sammy Delgado, North Ward Dem Party, thank you so much for being here. And Mike Rodriguez from the Hispanic American Foundation of Essex County, we thank you very much. Just once again, as we wrap up, I just want to say thank you again to the Newark Municipal Council before we leave, and I would like to reiterate the appreciation felt for them today. They should really be applauded, and it's basically what Juan was saying, not only for passing the resolution, and there's something that I'd like to point out, but for including in it their commitment to sending it to Congress, to our state governor, to the New Jersey legislator, to the Essex County Board of Chosen Freeholders, to the New Jersey League of Municipalities, the National League of Cities, the United States Conference of Mayors, the Governor of Puerto Rico, and President Barack Obama. Thank you, Municipal Council, for making that commitment. This action, what they have done and what they have committed to, further reinforces the fact that Newark is a vibrant, smart, proud, and progressive place, and that it honors its Puerto Rican people, porque nosotros defendemos. And that feeling translates to all Newarkers, no matter what your cultural background or heritage is. It really does, because if there's one thing that Newarkers do, it's defend ourselves and our interests. So I also want to share with you that Oscar received word of the parade dedication on Sunday, and his exact words were that he was very honored. And finally, to the press, you are the conscience of our society. We are very grateful that you are telling this story. Thank you. Please don't forget to pick up a packet, get the information that you need to tell the story the right way. And everyone, please spread the word. Be with us on Sunday, September 18th. Go to prdpnj.org today to register your group, because as Josue said, we want him with us, but if he's not, he's gonna hear us in Indiana. Thank you.